Hi friends, welcome to Wafa Studies YouTube channel. This is part 82 in Azure Data Factory playlist. In this video, we are going to discuss about cache sync and lookup in mapping data flow in Azure Data Factory. And also we are going to see a practical implementation of it. So what is cache sync and lookup? So cache sync is it's nothing but like if you guys are following my videos, by this time you already know data flow is nothing but like executing Spark code, right? All the data flow transformation logic whatever you design in the GUI, that entire GUI logic will be converted as a Spark code, and that code will be executed on the Databricks clusters. So that's how the data flows work in Azure Data Factory, right? So when you say sync, nothing but some destination storage, it might be table, it might be file, whatever maybe it is. But when you say cache sync, that means you are actually writing the output into some Spark cache instead of direct data store. So you are actually writing into Spark cache. Okay, so that's what cache sync means. So it is very useful if you write your output to cache when you want to perform some kind of lookups. Okay, so I will practically show you with one or two scenarios now. Don't worry. So that's what cache sync means. So if you want to achieve cache sync, what you need to do under sync transformation, you need to select dataset type as cache. Once you select it, it will not ask you to select any dataset which is pointing to any storage or any linked service. So it will be like a directly like sync cache type. Okay, so all these things maybe not make sense at this moment for you guys. Don't worry, when I practically implement this at that time, you will come to know like how, okay, how this all behaving. Okay, so let's go to our Azure portal. So this is our data factory. Let me create a new data mapping data flow here. So this is our mapping data flow. So let me explain you the requirement first. So what is my requirement? So I have a source location under my blob storage. I have a source file. This is the file which contains employee name, gender, country, and salary columns. So this is the employee information what I get. Okay. So and I have a sync table. This employee table. Let's assume this table is my destination. So I want all this data to be landed into my SQL table here. But if you observe, there is a employee ID column which is available here, but employee ID column is not there inside my source. So what I should do, I should insert all these rows automatically into this table, but I should append this employee ID column also to this particular data, and that column value should start incrementing from the maximum value of your sync. So for example, in this case, maximum ID for my table, in my table already I have a employee ID called 1. So all these three employees should be inserted, but these employee ID should be like 2, 3, 4 like that, because employee ID 1 is already there. So take this max ID and then calculate +1 from there. So that's how the requirement is. So how to achieve this using the cache sync and lookups? So let's see that. So let me go to my Azure portal and let me open my data factory here. So first thing is, let's add source for my sync table, because what I want is I want to get this maximum employee ID first. Okay, and I want to store it into some cache sync. That means I am going to store it into Spark cache. It's not any storage. Okay, it's like some temporary memory, something like that. So within the execution, I want to store it like a cached data, and then I want to look up that. So how to do that? So first let's add a source for my employee table, emp table. So this is my employee table. So let me create a data set for my employee table. It is Azure SQL. Continue. So let me name it like this is like ds underscore emp table. Okay, so I have already created a data set linked service for my db for this db. So I have selected that. Now let me select my employee table here and let me click ok. So this is going to create a data set for my employee table. And now what I will do, if I go to projection, it is actually getting all the data from that employee table, employee ID, name, gender, country. But what I want only maximum employee ID. So what I will do under source options, I will select query and I will use this query as my input source. This one, select max employee ID as max emp ID from employee table. So let me copy this particular query and let me have this under source options. So now I will click this import projection. Now what will happen, whatever the output of this query will become source for me. That means my source is going to be only like this output. Max emp id is the column name, and only one row that will contain the maximum employee id. Okay, so I have imported the projection. If I go to projection, see, now I have only max emp id. This is the only column I have. So let me have this into a notepad. Okay, so let me keep this here. So max emp id. Okay, now I have added a source. I want to, whatever the maximum employee id I calculated here using this particular employee table transformation, I want to catch that into sink, catchy sink. So let me do that. So let me add a sink here. So I'm going to name it like catch catched max emp id. This is what the name I want to give for it. And here if you see sync type, I am going to select as catchy. So that's it. The moment I said like sync type as catchy, it won't ask you to select any data set because there is no storage to store. It is going to be like a temporary storage. So I have say I am saving it as a catchy. Now if I go to setting, I am not going to select any key column here. I will explain this, the use of this key column, with the second scenario what I will explain in the same video. So let me go to mappings. Let me disable this auto mapping. So maximum employee id, max employee id, this is the output which I am catching. Okay, so if the advantage of catching this output into this sync catchy is, you can refer this into your expressions. Actually, you will see that in just a bit. So for now, remember that we have taken the maximum employee id from our table and we are catching it here, okay, as a catchy sync. Now leave that aside for some time. And now what I will do, let me add another source here. This time my source is going to be my actual source, that means my employee file. Okay, so let me go to adf. So let me call this like emp file. Okay, this is employee file. Now let me create a data set for my employee file. So it's a blob storage, continue, csv format, continue. So let me name it like ds underscore inp emp input folder employee file. Okay, so now this is my linked service for my blob storage. So in my file I have first row as a header. Let me browse that adf demo container and input folder and employees.csv. This is file. Okay, let me click ok. Okay, so I just created a data set for my employee. So if I go to projection here, see, I got employee name, gender, country, salary, everything. But if you see, salary came as a string because all the data whatever you have in the csv file, by default data types will come as a strings only. If you want to change, you can change it. I just changed salary as an integer because it's integer actually in my sql db. Okay, so let's go there. So but what I said, I added the source, but here I don't have any employee ID column. I have only employee name, gender, country, and salary. So to get any incremented column, if you have watched all my previous video, you know about the surrogate key transformation, right? So let me add a surrogate key transformation, and let me give a name for this column like emp underscore id, employee id, and the value is going to start with 1. Okay, let it be. So now if I go to data preview and if I see what will happen, it will append a new column called employee id, and the employee id value will be start like 1 2 3 like that. Okay, so let me show you that very quickly. So right now it is fetching data for your preview. So let's see that. Okay, let's wait for a couple of seconds. Whenever you try to preview data, it will take some time. And also don't forget to enable this data flow debug option here. Okay, see here I got the employee name, gender, country, salary, and I got employee id column also. But this is like 1 2 3. So these column values always going to be 1 2 3 only, right? If I have 10 rows, like 1 to 10 like that. But what I want in my case, these employee id columns has to be increment based upon my sync table. So in my sync table, if I already have one employee, I mean if maximum employee id is 1 here, then it should start from 2 2 3 4 like that. Let's assume I have a 10 employees here in my sync. So maximum employee id will be 10. So all the source data should be start from employee id 11. So that's what I want to achieve. So so you know that the maximum employee id we are already catching into this catchy sync. So now what I am going to do, I am going to use this catchy sync output, and I am going to write an expression for that to get that desired output. So what I will do here, on top of this surrogate key, I am going to add a derived column. Okay, then For this derived column I am going to select my employee id column here. Okay, so here under this expression, let me click this open expression builder. So here what I am going to do for this employee id, I am so I know the catch. See, we did that catch sync, right? The maximum ID. All that catch sync data will be available for you under this catched lookup. So if you see under catched lookup, I can see that catched max emp ID. So from where this is coming, let me cancel this. If you see here for the sync transformation, that's what the name we given. It's like catched max emp ID, right? Let me select that and show you. So this is catched max EMP The same catched max EMP only is appearing for us under the expression builder. So if I click the expression builder once again, and if I see this catched lookups here, you can see that one. So all the catchy sync will data will come here for you inside the expressions to write it. So what I'm going to do, let me select this. So on top of that, you need to write a code like this: output, whatever the output of this catched sync dot. No, so it is going to be like only one row on that data. First row dot what is the column name in the catchy sync. So I have pasted that in the notepad, right? Max employee ID. So let me copy that. So this is going to return us the maximum employee ID what is there in the first row of that catchy sync. Okay, that's what it is. So if you want to see that, you can click the refresh button here itself. This will show you the data also. So I just clicked that refresh just to preview whether our expression is working fine or not. So let's see that. So let me see here. Let me do this. So this is the expression we return. So for this employee ID column, under derived column transformation, we return this expression. So what this will do, this will take the maximum ID from the catchy sync, and the same value it will be repeated for all the employees, all the three employees. But what I want, I already have a surrogate key, right, for this employee ID. So what I will do here, simply emp underscore id plus that catched output. So that means employee id, whatever the employee id which we calculated from the surrogate key, plus the catchy output, the maximum employee id what we catched in the sync. So when you do this addition, automatically your employee id column is going to start from the maximum value of the sync. So already maximum employee id from my sync is 1. So 1 plus 1 is going to be 2, 1 plus 2 is going to be 3, 1 plus 3 is going to be 4, like that. So in this way, I will be able to get the employee IDs for my source data properly based upon the sync. So if I have 10 as the maximum employee ID in my sync, so all these values is going to start from 11. So like that, because we are going to do plus some addition of the surrogate key value plus the maximum value, right? So now we are good. So the moment I did it, immediately what I can do, I can add a sync here. Let me add a sync transformation, and inside the sync I can select a data set for my employee table. So let me add a new data set for my SQL database. So let me give a name like ds underscore emp table. So okay, already there is this, okay, emp sync. Let me give this name. Let me select this dev database. Now let me select our employee table here. Now let me click OK. So that's it. So we are indirectly so let me go to mappings and let me disable these auto mappings. And now, so employee ID is mapped with the employee ID. Let me select the employee name. Employee name has to be mapped with the employee name, gender to gender, salary to salary. So everything is fine. So that's it. So in this way we are able to increment the keys for this source data based upon the maximum value from the sync data. Okay, so very easily we achieved that using this catchy sync, and also using a expression on top of the catched lookup. So if I show you the expression once again, so this is how it is. Okay, so catched maximum emp id, then this outputs first row max emp id. Okay, so this is how you will write it. So let me very quickly run this data flow and show you the output also to you. So let me add a new pipeline, and now let me drag and drop this data flow onto the pipeline, and then let me debug execute this pipeline, and let's see if we really get data inserted into this table, and also employee IDs also should be incrementing from this maximum employee ID value. So let's see if that happens or not. So right now I just started my pipeline execution. So let me navigate to output tab. So all the debug pipeline executions will actually appear under this output tab. So let's see, let's wait for the execution to complete. You can see here the execution is in progress now. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. Okay, let me close this. So you can see the status as in progress now. Okay, great. You can see now our pipeline execution is successful, right? So now let me navigate to my SQL DB and let me execute this select statement and see if I got the data inserted properly or not. So I'm executing it. See here, all the data got inserted from my source, and also employee ID is incrementing from the maximum employee ID of my source data. So this is what the behavior we want to achieve. So very easily we achieved it using catchy sync and also catchy lookups, right? So one more thing what I want to achieve is, let me explain. See here, for the employee ID one, country name is full, but for all other employees the country column values are like short names, right? IN means India, US means United States, UK means United Kingdom. So what I want, I don't want data to be like this. So why data came like this? Because in my source, that's what I have under the country column. So what I want is basically, let me show you this country table here. Let me execute this. So this country table has two columns, country code and country name. So each country code will be having a full name of the country, like IN means India, US means United States, UK means United Kingdom. So what I want to catch this data also as a catchy sync, and then when I am trying to compile this data to insert into the employee table, right? So that's when I should get this, instead of IN I should get India, instead of US I should get United States. Based upon the country table data, I should get the full names here. So that's what my requirement is. How to achieve that? So to before doing that, let me delete all these three rows from this table first. So I am just executing this query to remove all those three rows. Now if I execute select star from the employee table, you can see only one employee here. So now I have the source data like this. So before inserting, of course surrogate key has to be incremented, that we just know implemented. So let it be this implementation here. But now what I want, this country column data has to be tweaked based upon the data of this country table. So that's what I want to achieve. So let's do that using the catchy sync once again. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add this country table as a source first. So let me go to my ADF. So here let me add another source here, and let me name it like country table, something like that, right? Country table. Okay, so let me create a new dataset for my country table, Azure SQL DB, and let me name it like ds underscore country. Let me select a link service for my dev database, and now let me select a table name here. So this is the table, right? Country table. Let me click OK. So this is going to get all the data from my country table. Okay, now what I am going to do, I am going to save this also as a catchy sync. So let me select the sync transformation here, and then so let me name it like catched countries. So all the countries data is going to be catched here. Okay, and let me select the sync type as catchy. Sorry, let me move this little up. Let me select this catchy. Okay, now if I go to setting, what I am going to do, this time I am going to store so many rows as the lookup data, right? So if you want to look up, so once you catch this data, whenever you try to write the expression on top of the data, you should be needing a lookup kind of nature. That means once I catch all this data, if I pass in to that in as a value into the expression, it should return me India. If I pass US as the value into expression, it should return me United States. If I pass UK, it should return me United Kingdom. So that's what the nature you want, that's what the implementation you want. So to do that, this country code has to be act as a key column actually. So that is the reason what I will do here, under this catchy sync I am going to select that country code as a key column value. Okay, so you will understand the need of it in just a bit when I actually write the expression, don't worry. So I am selecting the country code as a key column because I should be in a position to look up the data. Whenever I pass some country code, it should give me the full name of the country name. Okay, so that's what my requirement. So now I added this catch lookup. So let me go to mapping. Let me disable the auto mapping. So country code, country name. So these are the column names. Okay, so let me save this also into one notepad for now. Okay, so now what I want to is, now what I want to do, let me go to this derived column. Okay, so here what I did, I changed this employee ID column. I written some expression here to change this employee ID, right? Based upon the catchy lookup of the maximum employee ID. So similarly, what I want to do, I want to change the data change the data in the country column also, because right now country column getting the data like this only US, IN, UK like that. So I want to change them into full names. So let me do that. So let me add a new column here. So let me select this time. I want to change the country column. So let me open the expression builder. So for the country column, let me select the country column here. For the country column, what I want is from the catched lookup. So let me go to catched lookup. Inside the catched lookup, you can see the other catched sync also now. So this is the new catched sync which just now we created for the countries table. So let me select that. On top of this catched output, this time I should not use like this outputs first row off like that. If you use like that, it is not going to work for you. So I should use a lookup syntax here. Inside the lookup syntax, I should pass my country codes. So all my country codes are under the country column, right? So if you see here, all my country codes are under the country column from the source. So we should pass that. So whenever I pass any country here, for example, for the first iteration, IN is the country, then I should get the data back. So if I do the refresh here, observe this very closely. What will happen? Let me click this. So I am not lookup of country. That's what I am doing. Let me refresh and see what it is going to return, so that you will understand. Okay, what to write next after that. So let me keep this expression also here visible for you, and let's wait for the data preview to appear here. Okay, so remember, in my source data right now we have three country codes: IN, US and UK. Okay, so let's see when it passes IN as a country here, then this entire expression returns this value IN comma India. When you pass US as a input here for the lookup function, it is this entire expression is going to return United US comma United States. Similarly for UK, it is going to return this full value. But what I want only India, I want only United States, I want only United Kingdom. That's what I want. So how to achieve that? So once you do this lookup, after that you need to put dot, and then so this catched sync is having two columns, right? One is country underscore code, another one is country underscore name, right? So we should use that. So we are concerned about country underscore name. Copy that dot country name. So now if I refresh this, let's see what will happen. So on this catchy sync, lookup function taking my country codes from my source, and it is returning country name from the catchy sync. See here, India, United States, Kingdom. So we are good, right? Let me click this save and finish. Now if I go to data preview, and now if I refresh, I should get the data as I expected. Under country column, I will be getting India, United States, United Kingdom like that, based upon the country table. So let me show you that as well. So right now I just started this data preview. Let's wait for it. It is currently fetching data. So let's wait for this data to fetch here. See here, country column is now getting the full country names based upon the table, this table, country table, right? So very easily we achieved it using these catchy syncs and catchy lookups, right? So now so I no need to change anything, I think, in the sync, right? Because we already mapped all the columns, employee ID to employee ID, name to name, gender to gender. So now if I execute this data flow, this should get the data as we expected into the table. So let's see that. So right now if I execute select start from the employee table, it will be having only one employee ID. So let's wait for a couple of seconds to complete the execution of this debug run what I just initiated. You can see here the pipeline one is currently running. So let's wait for this execution to complete. Okay, so usually these debug executions on the data flows will take some 40 to 50 seconds at least. So we need to wait for it. So let's wait. You can see our pipeline is currently running. Let me close this. You can see the status here also, it's like in progress. Great. So pipeline execution is successful. Now you can see the success status here. Now let me go to our SQL DB. Now let's execute the select start from table. See here, now we got all the source data, and also if you observe the country column, we got country column names fully, right? Full country names. So all this happened because of this catchy syncs magic what we did and the expressions what we written, right? So very easy to tweak the data if you use these catchy lookups. Okay, so hope you have got a clear idea like how to make use of this catchy sync and catchy lookup. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get the notifications whenever I add videos. Thank you so much guys. Thank you.